This is the Tombigbee Tales, a podcast about a small southern town in northeast Mississippi. Today's episode is titled A Pig in a Poke, or The Advertising Bridge to Nowhere. Today we'll be talking about how the Columbus Visitors Bureau and how they do as an organization with a $250,000 marketing budget and continue to poorly perform on so many metrics related to attracting tourism to Columbus. Why does the director of the organization continue to throw money to out-of-town, uninvested, crony-owned marketing and publishing firms that get such lackluster results? Why does the Columbus and Convention Visitors Bureau have a dead Twitter account, or X, or whatever you want to call it today, and a mostly abandoned Facebook account? Why is the overly expensive website so dated and not maintained? More importantly, how does this online presence negatively impact potential visitors? A good social media page for an organization like the CVB should regularly post probably 4 to 5 times per week that would be content rich with things like their own and community content and things that spread goodwill and promote sharing and cross-posting amongst other organizations in our community. They should be recognizing public service in and outside of their organization. This is also another way for creating great engagement with your customers, and people see that you're a warm and welcoming visitor center. The world and visitors are mobile today. Communication is expected, and our CVB is missing the boat with our dead or dying online presence. Doing Facebook Lives is another excellent way to create engagement. Taking live questions about an upcoming event at the Tennessee Williams home or our other landmarks, live streaming a home tour. But they're not going to do that because you have to engage your audience by posting content that they are interested in. Photos of places, flowers, events, food, sharing articles about our town, our architecture, our history, fostering a sense of community to maintain visibility, to create interactive digital experiences that share imagery that makes people want to come here. The website, for all its expense of over $30,000, is a hot mess at best. It's littered with broken links, outdated brochures of spring pilgrimage tour of places no longer on the tour, and photos that are racially insensitive that make it a poor tool to attract tourism. The homepage is not very inviting and is rather clunky to navigate and has a dated overall feel and appearance. It's unnecessarily complicated and is not designed with mobile users in mind. The social share options are lost as you scroll down the page. No phone number is obvious, and there's no please contact us for further information or to arrange a tour tab anywhere to be found. We should have, at minimum, a LinkedIn page. Our website, while the first experience most tourists have with our town, should be charming, inviting, and easy to use and linked to all our social media. We could be an amazingly successful tourist destination. We need to leverage the events in and around Lowndes County, but that isn't happening. Let's look beyond the internet at our failures and shortcomings and hopefully figure out how to create a variety of events that draw a diverse range of repeat tourists and really showcase our community. What events does the CVB support, host, and promote currently? What actual events do they organize and host from beginning to end? That is a good question. What events does the CVB design? For what purpose? Are they for attracting tourists? These questions remain to be answered. And in some, the answer would be none of these things are being done. Because there are two events that are both funded by the CVB, but the work is not done by the CVB. They are done by the Cultural Foundation that is a subset of the CVB in a sort of roundabout way. The CVB and the Cultural Heritage Foundation host two events, major events. One is called Catfish in the Alley, and the other is called the Arts and Antique Show. Now, Catfish Alley has a rich historical connection to the African American community in Columbus. Catfish in the Alley, as an event, had a stage with a band this year and a handful of vendors, and not much in the way of promo or advertising done locally or anywhere else notable. It is a 2-day event that runs for about 1.5 to 2 hours on a Friday, starting at midday, and it lasts roughly 5 hours on Saturday. When we look at Facebook, there's a very poor example of how to market an event. Then all of that starts with the first Facebook post to promote Catfish on the Alley, which is on April 4th. It is promoting musician Watermelon Slim, a white blues artist playing on the lawn. Yes, a white blues artist for the April 21st event. The next Facebook post is a poster of the event, which is good, and it's posted April 12th. 8 days were allowed to go with no easy to create social media advertising between the first post on the 4th and the next post on the 12th. 8 days were allowed to go without any additional advertising. Lost opportunity. On April 17th, the very same poster was splashed across the feed with the very same exact word copy for the ad. There are 0 posts after that for the event, no posts or video of the day of the event, and absolutely no thank yous or anything else about the event after it was done. It's like the event never happened. Nothing promoting the 25 scant food and folk arts and crafts vendors that were there. Nothing promoting the 4 musical groups that played, and nothing else is mentioned. The CVB missed out on sharing the rich cultural heritage of the Central Business District for Columbus for African Americans in the 19th and 20th century. They could have leveraged the history of that space and that time to attract visitors. No mention of why it's called Catfish Alley. No mention of Jones Restaurants that was in operation for 50 years and where you happily stood in line for a table. No mention of the doctor, the dentist, the barbershop, and drugstore that served the Black community during post-Reconstruction through Mississippi's segregation law era. No mention of the blues artists who played there. Again, the CVB missed an important cultural boat that would have attracted tourists. The other event the CVB sort of hosts in conjunction with the Columbus Cultural Heritage Foundation is the Arts and Antique Show and Sale. The show this year was hosted an opening evening, and then 2 full additional days were held. This year, it was held at the Columbus Arts Council, and regionally renowned folk artist Elaine Goodman was given a reception. Her art was featured at the Columbus Arts Council for the entire month of November. The advertising for the event was negligible and virtually non-existent. It did get 3 apparently unboosted Facebook posts. The first one was posted 3 days prior to November 3rd on Halloween night, and it got 1 like and no shares. The next Facebook post promoting the event was the day before the event and got 2 likes and no shares. Apparently, even the employees and the board members are not sharing the post from the CVB. The third post was the day of the event, and it got 1 like and 0 shares. But the month prior, in October, there was a big Facebook push to get the CVB nominated by their followers for Convention South's Reader Choice Award. There were 5 posts devoted to self-promotion. There were more posts devoted to a church performance of the Messiah after the November event than to local CVB-sponsored events. Now, I love the Messiah, don't get me wrong, but even that promotion was the same image and the same verbiage on the post over and over. Nothing worthy of engagement, which is what social media is all about. Let's compare that to a local realtor in town who posts more about local events in Columbus and Lowndes County every week than the CVB posts in a year. He promotes this community every fundraiser, every tournament, every charitable function, art opening, school events, and successes. He gives to the community, he supports their events, and he creates excitement about the town he loves. He does self-promote on occasion, and that's okay. It is his page. But he tends to follow the significantly more outward promotion of others and their events than he does his own stuff. And he does it all with his own personal Facebook page, and he spends a few minutes a day posting. If he can do that on his personal time, imagine what our fancy ad marketing dollars should be getting if they invested in just 4 measly branded posts a week. One of the reasons the costs are so high for the advertising produced and why the ads get such poor results is twofold: target market and last-minute advertising. Just like the Facebook fails, our paper and pen and our magazine advertising fails as well. A good advertising campaign for a large event takes 6 to 8 weeks to plan. For example, the Columbus Historic Homeowners have a spring pilgrimage tours. There are 2 of them. But when you Google Columbus, Mississippi spring pilgrimage, the first listing on on the itinerary is that you click on it, you land on a lovely banner of pink tulips and a spring pilgrimage itinerary for March 26th through April 4th of 2020. Yes, that is correct. The brochure that is listed on the spring pilgrimage itinerary page for the CVB is from the year 2020. And many of the homes on the page, while exquisite, are no longer on the tour or open to the public. The whole page feels dated and abandoned. The last actual historic home tours was March 16th through March 25th, followed by the preservation group on March 31st through April 23rd of 2023. Both of these groups deserve to be recognized on the CVB's page, as they both are fighting hard to keep their homes preserved and open to the public. According to multiple homeowners and several board members, the homeowners of both groups worked with the director to get all the advertising brochures organized and to her in plenty of time to have her get the work to the printer in time to get their brochure to all the visitor centers along our state highways. The homeowners' goal was to monopolize on the tourists coming through Mississippi on their way to Natchez to their pilgrimage that began March 1st. This is the same market that we try to attract, and so this was a no-brainer. However, the historic home tours experienced a very negative impact of trying to get their marketing in place in time, thanks to the heel dragging of the CVB director. You see, 3 months before the pilgrimage was to start, board member Joe Beckett, who is also a homeowner and former board member, asked when the brochures would be designed. A media design team from the Historic Home Tours group was supposed to work with Nancy on the brochure. 2 months before it was supposed to be produced, the Historical Home Tour group began to push hard to get Nancy to make time to meet with their design team. But she kept saying, oh, things are moving along. but she wasn't meeting with them. She promised she would, but the design team found that she would not commit to a time to meet. She would update the board and say everything was fine and the brochures were doing great. But she lied to the board, because this is what really happened. The brochures were not ordered in a timely manner and did not get delivered to the highway visitor centers around the state until a week before the beginning of the first group of pilgrimage events. This forced the CVB to incur not only exorbitant freight and shipping costs, but they also lost at least a week's worth of potential customers, and they entirely missed exposure to any Columbus tour marketing at the Natchez events. Shoddy and inexcusable behavior from the person directly responsible for bringing tourism to Columbus yet again. These types of expensive marketing blunders happen over and over with the CVB's director, and the community continues to suffer because of it. Our tourist income is shrinking while her ineffective marketing budget keeps growing. To borrow from the irascible Ann Richards, you can put lipstick on a marketing hog and call it advertising, but it's still a pig in a poke.